what the heck is going on? Who am I talking to anyway? Who are you? Oh my God, so many new faces. Let's raise your hand. How many of you know nothing about astrology? Come on, somebody got you here. Okay, and how many of you just know your sun sign? And how many of you have been listening to the Pele Report for a long time? Okay. And how many of you know what degree your Venus is? Okay. There's always a wide range of people from, people that have been doing astrology forever, and they want to know the minutes and the degrees and the exact day and the, and then there's other people that, don't know very much astrology, and I don't want to lose them. So I'll say some things that will make sense to you, and then maybe some things won't. Best thing to do would be to pay attention to what makes sense to you. If it resonates, you want to take it in. And if it doesn't resonate, fine. Tonight, you're mostly going to be hearing my opinion. It's just my opinion. And if you resonate with my opinion, then great. And we just want to be open to, you may walk out of here and you heard one sentence that made a difference out of the 2 hours of me talking. And that could make, so yeah, every little bit helps. Every little bit counts. So I'm going to give a little background, basically, to the talk tonight. And I think, it's just really bothering me. I don't know if it's bothering you guys, but this is not centered. I'm Virgo rising, and, the moon is actually on my ascendant right now. So, yeah, this has to be perfect. I want tonight's talk to be perfect. I'm sure it will be because you're here. Okay, now, so what we have is, this is color-coded. Yeah, my ex-wife made this. This is, fire is red. Yes, so we have fire, 3 fire signs. Green is earth. Okay, we have 3 earth signs. Air is yellow. We have 2 air signs, and this is Aquarius. It's light yellow because I think it's outer space. No air out there, just Aquarians, our alien friends. Yes? And then we have water. Yes? And this is Cancer and Scorpio. They are blue. And over here we have Pisces, which is very light blue, because I don't think Pisces is water. I think Pisces is ether. Yeah, it's total spiritual energy. There's no substance. Yeah, there's nothing there. It is spirit. Yeah? So I only work with 2 water signs and Pisces, right? And then we can see that these are, there's 3 different fire signs. There's 3 earth, 3 air, 3 water, right? And so what makes those different, they call them modalities. But tonight we're just going to say they are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Yeah? So there's create, sustain, destroy. Yeah? So we have cardinal, Brahma, creative energy, beginning. Okay? And Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, raise your hand. We got some Aries in here? Yeah, they like to go first, right? They're very creative, fire, dynamic, charge, boom, right? Okay? And then we have fixed fire, Leo, Vishnu. Got some Leo in here? All right, not so much, good. Fixed fire, combustion engine, really goes to town. Okay, yeah? And then we have the mutable, Sagittarius energy. Fire, Sagittarius, Shiva. Mutate, adapt. Okay, so Sagittarius is, bringing it in. So Brahma puts it out, Vishnu holds it, right? And then the mutable, or Shiva, brings it in. Yeah? So we have these 3. So we have cardinal fire, fixed fire, mutable fire. Okay, we have cardinal earth. Capricorn? Got some Capricorn? Well, thank you very much. We need you. Taurus, 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 fixed earth, boom. I'm not going anywhere. I'll do whatever I want. You will not change my mind. And Virgo, let's get it straight. Let's get it together. Yeah, all right, perfection. Ow! Yeah, baby. Okay, what?
Are you Virgo sign too?
No.
Are you gonna raise your hand when we say our sun sign?
I'm Leo. Okay. And what do we got? Cardinal air, Libra. Initiates relationship, communication, love, beauty, art. Yes. Right? So the air signs is communication, right? And visual and seeing things and hearing and talking and sharing. Aquarius, fixed air, outer space. Yeah. Boom. Doesn't have to talk, just knows. Just knows. Okay? If I lose my way, I'll just look over here. She'll get me back on track. And then we've got Gemini. Gemini is mutable air. Change my mind. Okay, good. And then we've got cardinal water. Initiate emotional connection. Cancer. Yes. It's beautiful. Thank you for coming. And then we've got Scorpio. Fixed water, get down, get dirty, get real, no bullshit, yeah. And then we've got mutable water, Pisces. Let's dance, sing. Michael's Pisces. See, sometimes they don't raise their hand because they don't want to be seen. Okay. But now we've got, besides that, then we also just want to tie this into cycles, because astrology is the study of cycles. All evolution and all growth occurs through cycles. Okay, whether it is a moon cycle, a daily cycle, a yearly cycle, a lifetime cycle, the cycle of Rome or a nation or a company or a relationship. They start, they peak, they end. Okay, so everything is always growing according to cycles. And part of that growing is dying. Yes? So in so many ways, it is like this sine wave, that what goes up definitely goes down. But then also, whatever goes down always comes back up. So there is always this constant death, resurrection, rebirth, expansion, growth, and then contraction, leading to the end, which then leads to a new seed and a new beginning, right? So we have this whole kind of thing, and we'll just take it through the year, okay? And this would be springtime in the northern hemisphere is 0 degrees of Aries, right? So the seed is planted. Now the seed comes out of Pisces. Pisces is the infinite potential, where anything happens. Dreams, sleep, no time, no space, no boundaries. It's infinity. It's everything and it's nothing. It's the void. Out of that void, out of that infinite potential, comes a spark, a desire. So Aries is desire. I've got a desire. I've got an impulse. I want something. Something new, something different, something never been done, seen, or had before. It's new, right? So this is the seed. This is springtime. And then that, that comes into Earth, Taurus, right? And then it begins to spread out some roots. And then it kind of breaks, it gets that water down there, and it starts to rise up. Okay, so we have this Cancer, and this Cancer comes. Now here we have what? Fire, earth, air, water, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the beginning, and we could say that this is more along the lines of the unconscious or the instinctive or the automatic. It just kind of happens, right? And so the fire signs all have to do with the beginning, and the water signs have to do with the end. So here we have the beginning of the impulse, and that ends in Cancer. And out of that waters of Cancer comes self-consciousness, Leo. Oh gosh, you know, I'm so self-conscious. I'm the sun, the center of the universe. Everybody's looking and watching and thinking, and I'm just, you know, all about me. And it's the teenager, you know. So then the teenager gets very self-conscious, but then, you know, wants to be perfect, then moves into relationship. And we know what relationship does. It kills you. This is Scorpio. You are no longer a self. Yes? You merge and you are forever alchemically changed through deep, intimate connection, especially the sexual fluids, especially the waters of Scorpio. So this is the death or the ending of self-consciousness that then gives birth, okay, to social, transpersonal consciousness. So here we have the birth of philosophy and religion and higher mind thinking, and expand that consciousness out to make sense of it all. And then we make laws and governments and rules and institutions. And then we come in, you know, to global corporations and science and technology and space programs and Elon Musk. And then we all kind of come back to meditation, to mystic, to the ending, to the chaos, to where, guess what? It all kind of came around. So Pisces is cosmic consciousness. So we come from unconsciousness to self-consciousness to transpersonal consciousness back to cosmic consciousness. And what I'd like to say is it's not a circle, it's a spiral. So we could start out here, right? And our first level, right, may be to come around, and we'll come back to 0 Aries, but we're going to be up here, right? You know, and we'll go around again, but you know what? When we come back to 0 Aries, we'll be up here. So there's no stereotype. There's no one kind of Aries. We could say there's octaves to every one of these archetypes. These are 12 basic archetypes. And Carl Jung, you know, coined that term of archetype. And an archetype is just an aspect or a part of our psyche or our soul. So we all have an inner warrior. We all have a lover. We all have an inner child. We all have an inner critic, right? You know, so these are just, you know, different kind of aspects of ourselves. And they're highlighted at different times according to the planetary energies. So the planetary energies, they symbolize, okay, these moving, changing, evolving aspects of our psyche. Yeah? Now, astrology is based on reincarnation. It says that we have been here before, and it says that we chose our DNA, we chose our color skin, we chose our gender, we chose our color hair, we chose our religion, we chose our economic status, we chose it all. And that, you know, choice is a reflection of what our soul intends to do this lifetime. And the intentions for this lifetime are based on what we did and what we didn't do in our previous lifetimes. So when we are looking at our birth chart, okay, it is when we drew our first breath, they cut that umbilical cord and we went, that moment, as above, so below, as without, so within. We draw in prana, which is spirit. Spirit comes and gives life to this physical organism, and boom. That moment is a special time and space that reflects your soul intention. But it keeps on moving. It keeps on changing. Yeah? The train leaves the station. So even after that first breath, everything keeps moving. And so there are these cycles. The sun is every year. The moon is every month. Mars is every 2 years, Jupiter every 12, Saturn every 28, Uranus every 84, right? So each one of these planets has their own cyclical time pattern, okay? And we can look at how they reflect back to your natal chart. And that will give you a personal understanding of what you are going through at any particular time in your life, and the relationship of how your unconscious soul created it. So in astrology, there are no accidents. There's only unconsciousness. Yeah? And the unconscious is extremely powerful. And it gets projected outside of us, and we see things coming at us, but they're actually an unconscious creation so that our soul can learn, self-discover, grow, and evolve. Yeah? So these are some of the premises that we go on. Now, if you've been listening to the Pele report, okay, what I'm doing is I'm talking about where things are now. Because not only is there this personal chart, right, and our personal evolution, but then there is also the surroundings. Okay, it's called the collective consciousness, and then there's the collective unconscious. So what the planets will tell us now is what's going on in the collective unconscious. Yeah? And so, when we look at that, it's almost like, what can we say? Well, maybe it's like the weather. So like you're a plant. Let's say that we're all flowers. Pick your favorite flower, and you are that. And we're all flowers growing. And then Pluto comes around, and it's a dark cloud, and it rains on you, right? And then the sun comes out, and it shines, right? And then the temperature drops. So there are things that we all share in common. We're all on the same planet, right? They're all talking about climate change, okay? You know, we're all on the internet. We're all buying from Amazon. Who's not buying from Amazon? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll talk about that later. But, you know, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to take the temperature. We're taking the temperature, and then we're going to be weather people, and we're going to kind of look ahead a little bit. And maybe we'll look back a little bit, and we'll see storms that are coming, and we'll see storms that have finished, right? And, you know, and we'll see an ice age coming, or we'll see an ice age finishing. But, you know, you get this idea, and this is what's so cool about astrology, right? You look at this, and I liken it to surfing. You know, there's a wave coming. Well, start paddling. You know, it tells us when we want to take advantage, you know, and what we want to take advantage of. So, you know, it gives us good guidance, you know, to know that weather beforehand. You know, you can leave the house and you'll bring an umbrella with you if you know it's going to rain. So astrology can give you a kind of little bit of a head start on things, if you know what I mean. Okay, so is that good enough for a start? All right, so we talked about a little bit about the signs. I want to be talking about the planets. But, you know, before we get into the planets, why don't we just talk a little bit about this, the ages, yes? There's a 26,000-year cycle. It's called the Great Year, yeah? Whether it's the yugas, okay, in India they call it the yugas, or the astrologers call it the astrological ages, right? And so there's 12 of them. They last about 2,000 years. And so it's due to kind of the wobble of the Earth. The Earth kind of wobbles. The pole star, the North Star, is not all, Polaris has not always been the North Star, yeah? So it used to be Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut was the North Star 5,000 years ago. So we have this, so the axis of the Earth is going around. And as it does that, okay, there is this movement where, and this is where tropical astrology comes in, that it always starts at equal day, equal night. It starts the year at 0 degrees of Aries, like I said. There's Vedic sidereal astrology, which does not follow it doesn't follow the precession of the equinoxes. Yeah? So, but I work with tropical astrology, which does. Yeah? And so what that says is, all right, is that the actual constellations, okay, the seasons are moving through the constellations as the Earth wobbles. It's a little out there, but it's all right. You don't have to understand it. What it says, though, is that about 2,000 years ago, 0 Aries lined up with 0 Aries, right? But with this movement, it's a degree every 72 years, okay? So it's been moving through Pisces. And now it's right at the edge of Pisces going into Aquarius. That's why they say that there is the age of Aquarius. It's coming, right? Okay, so we are emerging out of this age of Pisces into this age of Aquarius that will last about 2,000 years, and then we'll go into the age of Capricorn. So if you go back to the time of when the pyramids were built, that was the age of Taurus. And then we went through this age of Aries, Alexander the Great and stuff like that going on over there, And then Jesus really, it's funny because Jesus came. He says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Well, that's what Pisces is. And Jesus was a double Pisces. I have his chart. Yeah? So he split the fishes and the loaves. So here we got the fish. I mean, it all fits together. You see what I'm saying? This is what I mean. This is not a conspiracy. So we're moving through Pisces, right? And now we're coming out of this age of Pisces into this age of Aquarius. We are at the very, very beginning. Like I said, it moves a degree every 72 years. So it's very difficult to draw this line in the sky. Oh, that's where Aquarius stops. And that's where Pisces starts. I mean, so what I say is if it's a 2,000-year cycle, we want to give it, like a couple hundred years on each side. So I would say that, the transition began probably in 1776 or so. 1750 maybe to 2250. So by 2250, we will definitely be fully in the age of Aquarius. So we are giving birth. We are the forebearers of this age of Aquarius. We will not experience the age of Aquarius. Our children's children's children will actually get a real idea of what the age of Aquarius is all about. So we're kind of at that beginning stage, right? Like you're a mother giving birth and you don't know what's coming out of there. And you just kind of hope it's, going to be good. So yeah, we're at that stage where, oh my God, anything could happen. It's called the cusp. We're on the cusp. So we're on the cusp of this age of Aquarius. And what does that mean? We are coming out of Pisces, okay, which is what? Infinite potential, innocence, naivety, hope, faith. No boundaries, no laws, no rules. We're all one. It's just this beautiful artistic dance, and we just want to make music and love, and it's so spiritual and divine. And I believe in heaven, and I believe in the church, and I believe in the government, and I believe in Dad, and I believe. And now we're coming into Aquarius. Science, technology. Laser beams, sharp, research, technology, right? So, it's funny because, Pisces rules the crown chakra. It's mysticism. It's meditation. It is the... it's where we open ourselves and where we open our heart space and where we experience no separation, that we are all one. And then Aquarius rules the third eye, the peak of individuation, the peak of individuality. I am a genius. I am the scientist. I am unique. I am different. I am LGBTQ plus, 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 plus. I am this, I am that. But it's very unconventional, eccentric, bizarre, experiential, going out into the unknown, right? And opening up. And the main thing about this third eye, the witness, the observer, stepping above and outside our self-ego consciousness into a liberated state of enlightenment where we are able to observe ourselves from outside ourselves. This is the highest of, if we think of the octaves of Aquarius, it is enlightened, witnessing non-attachment to anything, only the truth, which is pure science, which is true science. Yeah? So we're going to talk more about this age of Aquarius, but we can see that we're moving, into this age, and it's going to be lasting for 2,000 years. Which leads us right then into our next planet, which is Pluto. Pluto. The circle is spirit, the crescent is consciousness, and the cross is matter. So each one of the planetary glyphs, gives us something. It says here is spirit held in consciousness above matter. Yeah? So this is Pluto, god of the underworld, god of death and resurrection, the principle of evolution, the force of evolution, that we will evolve. We will self-discover. We will expand our awareness. It goes around every 248 years. Okay? Yeah? So he just came around to where he was in 1776 at the time of the revolution. So the United States just had its first Pluto return. It's dying, and it will resurrect anew. Yes? After this. But what we can say now, is that Pluto went into the... So as this force of evolution, it works through the process, of alchemical transformation through union with forces beyond my control. Yeah? So this is, when we merge with something beyond our control, something that we cannot, that has power, we relate to it to become more powerful, right? And through that relationship, so this is the principle of osmosis. But what it will do is that alchemical transformation will change the two entities that are merging, right? And they will no longer remain the same. So when it goes through one of these archetypes, it completely changes it. And it usually comes in, we can just get a sense of, Pluto came into the Earth sign of Capricorn. And this Capricorn Cancer is the security axis. Yes? Emotional, personal security, physical, financial security, Capricorn. In 2008, if you remember 2008, this is when Pluto came in and said, guess what? Your physical financial security needs to evolve. What you depend on, what you count on, what you rely on. And this is also Capricorn, like we said, this is the 10th sign. This has to do with government. This has to do with institutions. This has to do with external authorities. This has to do with CEOs of corporations. This has to do with the people who make laws, rules, and boundaries. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the lord of time and space, limitation, and boundaries. Yeah? So it's gone through from 2008, right, until March last month. Yeah. So we have now transformed from 2008 until now. We have transformed what we look to as authority. Do you know what I'm talking about? Who's your authority now? Your external authority, whether it's institutions or corporations or religions or parents, or I mean, it's just like, whoa. Yeah? We can also get a sense of what? That now what's emerging is what? A world government. Okay, so even governments, national governments are now moving into, these are multinational. Aquarius is international. It's collective consciousness. This is science. This is corporations. Okay, this is everything. This is the World Health. This is the World Economic Forum. This is the world this and the world that and the world the other. I mean, we're coming out of these separate little nation states, right, into, yeah? So Aquarius rules the internet, and they're even coming out now with Web 3. Yes, you know, there was Web 1 was just military and government. Web 2 was commercial. Web 3 is the blockchain, completely individual, right, with no external control systems. So there's another, internet coming. So we can see that, when Pluto enters a sign, and what's going on here with Pluto, it went in here in March, but now here's what happens. God, I have to explain this. Let's take one of these and just say that this beautiful crystal is Earth. Yeah? So here's Earth, and we'll say that, here's the sun, and the Earth is going around the sun, right? And when the Earth goes around the sun, if you draw a line from here, let's say here, right, to Pluto, it's going to go right through here into Aquarius, right? But then the Earth comes around here. And if you draw a line from here to Pluto, it's going to go out to the stars of Capricorn. You see what I'm saying? So it will, for a time, look like Pluto is going backwards. It's like when you pass a car on the freeway. It looks like it's going backwards, right? So Pluto is not going backwards, but as the Earth goes around, it has this optical illusion that they call retrograde. Retrograde, yes? So it looks like the planet is going in reverse. So Pluto is going to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, about 6 months forward, 6 months back, 6 months a little farther forward, 6 months back. And it's not really until, guess when? November of 2024. The fucking election! Oh my God! Then it's going to be firmly in there. Yeah, baby. Oh my God. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a time, Pluto, Aquarius, this is revolution. This is revolution. Yeah. This is, this is really, this just really says, and of course, we're going to look at all these other things. I'm just really looking at this Pluto, okay, going back and forth here, okay. And I always say Pluto, a Pluto transit takes like 3 years. Now, if you have a planet, I was born with the sun at 0 degrees of Leo. So I've got Pluto going opposite my sun for the next year and a half. I could die. I will die one way or another, right? There's just parts of us that die. Yeah. So anyway, but you see what I'm saying? If you had, and then if I had a planet over here, like I could have the moon over here at what, 29 degrees of Aries or 0 Taurus or 1 Taurus or something like that, I'm going to get a square from Pluto. It could be my moon. Mom could die. I mean, anything can happen. Yeah. So this is, Pluto deals, well, I mean, it depends on how long I want to talk, how fast I want to talk, and how much you guys can take in what I'm going to say on. The force of evolution, Pluto works in one of 4 different ways, depending upon the resistance to the evolutionary need. So we have unconscious evolutionary intentions, and the ego can either cooperate or not. Like we can want to evolve and grow and change and let go of old patterns, or we can say, "Oh God, I'm never leaving this." This is me. I can't live without this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we have so we have this range, and so if you are embracing evolution, a Pluto transit can come around and you can have instantaneous, from past lives, yes, you can have capacities, talents, something that you developed from before can just come back onto the scene. You can start playing piano at 42. I had a neighbor who didn't know anything about painting, and she's 42 years old. She picks up a paintbrush and oh my God, right? She starts making these amazing paintings with no lessons. You know what I'm saying? Has anybody had something like that occur in their life where it's just like, oh my God, I start sewing and I'm a master sewer or whatever. I mean, it's just amazing, yeah? So this is one way that Pluto can work because it's your soul energy. The second way, is through relationship. You can meet somebody and connect with them and your life will never be the same. Just talk to my daughter. She met Zach on a Pluto transit, and she'll never be the same. You hear what I'm saying? So, this can happen through relationship or partnership. The third way is if there's a little more of a resistance. Then you get into these places where I can't stand this job one more day. It's called stagnation. I feel like I'm suffocating. I'm going to die. I've got to get out of here. Somebody open a window. It's getting real claustrophobic. Right? So Pluto can act like this. The walls are closing in and the sky is falling. I've got to make a change, even though I don't want to. Right? And the fourth way and the last way, and this is the most traumatic because this is when there is the most resistance, and that is that Pluto will simply take away whatever you are attached to that is inhibiting your soul's evolution. Arm, leg, eye, job, house, spouse, country, what the soul does not care. Don't forget, the soul reincarnates. It's like, you know what? We were talking about this today. The soul can be very cruel. It doesn't care if you're in pain or not. You need to evolve. And you're going to discover something about yourself no matter how painful it is. And it's about consciousness. Yeah? So when Pluto goes into Aquarius here, this is science, this is technology, this is global corporations, this is global governance, this is, internet, and this is, everything that is going on around here. And Pluto's going to stay in here for 20 years. Yeah? We have Pluto in Aquarius until 2044. So for the next 20 years, we are going to see advances in science and technology that make what's happening now look like nothing. Nothing. You think something's happening really fast right now? It's not. You're fooling yourself. No, this is really just the beginning. We know that AI is teaching itself, right? And as AI teaches itself, it's going exponential and it doesn't sleep. So, you know, this is just like really going to just kabawoomy. Yeah? Just like the financial world went through a crisis, right? Now we're going to be going through, you know, a crisis that has to do with technology. It's a technological crisis. And you can see it already coming, right? You know, Musk and those guys came up with, you know, we've got to stop AI. We need a 6-month break. You know, like they're going to get it. Like, oh, yeah, sure. We'll just tell everybody to go home for 6 months.
Do your homework.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So anyway. But what I want to, you know, this is, when I was thinking about, you know, tonight, I really wanted to just really discuss a little more something, and this is what the Pele Report is about. You know, it's just like what's most important is growth, evolution, self-discovery, and love. And this can happen regardless of the temperature, regardless of whether it's raining or shining, regardless of whether there's a world crisis or not. In fact, who was it? Oh, gosh. I think it was Esther Perel. You know, they did this study of people that came out of the concentration camps and people that have gone through all kinds of very intense, deep crisis. And they said, you know, I mean, what was your biggest concern? What was your biggest worry? Right? And it was about their loved ones. It was about their relationships. It was about, you know, we grow through our relationships. We become more conscious through our inner circle, okay, of intimate connections with other people. And these forces that we cannot control are really exactly that. We can't control them. And as much time as we spend, or some could say waste, following these forces that we cannot control, we lose opportunities at really developing capacities, talents, ideas, creative expressions, okay, that is actually going to further our next life or this life. Yeah? So I didn't want to actually spend so much time, okay, around what I consider what they call mundane astrology. Yeah, mundane astrology is keeping track of, okay, you know, what's going on in the headlines and the news and the governments and the financial markets and the this is. I mean, you can study financial astrology if you're into that. You know, I mean, you know, you can study. There's all kinds of, you know, of astrology. I work with evolutionary astrology, which is about soul evolution. And so what I'm going to be focusing on a little more tonight, I mean, I'm not going to, you know, I mean, we will talk about what's going on out there, okay, because it does affect us, all right? But really, what's going on in here, and what's going on in here is Pluto moving into Aquarius. There's 3 responses. Aquarius is the stage of liberating from the existing structures, forms of time and space, the consensus reality, the conventional established norms, okay, of the patriarchy or the governments or the management or your father or your inner critic or your inner judge. And it's an opportunity then to evolve and open your third eye. This is an opportune time, okay, for us to actually, break free and liberate ourselves from our own past, from our own limitations, from our own, guilt and shame and judgments is all falls under this Capricorn. So that, this is a time of revolting, of rebelling, of breaking free, okay, from whether it's the patriarchy or whether it is your own inner sense, right? Of right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no, black, white, up, down. What we're going into now is quantum physics. We could say Capricorn is Newtonian physics. Well, we're going from gravity to no gravity, right? We're going to where the observer affects what is observed. So we're shifting paradigms, and some souls, probably who are sitting in this room, incarnated at this time, okay, on purpose, to not only witness but to be a midwife for this awakening of consciousness. So it's an opportune time. These are the perfect conditions. I will say that everything is exactly perfect for you, right, to discover, to grow, to develop exactly what you came here to grow and develop and discover. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong. We want to move. What we're doing is we're moving beyond, okay, this place, and this is this is a little tricky to explain sometimes. But we're just gonna really kind of come into this understanding, okay, that if we want to move into this age of Aquarius, or we want, Pluto's going into Aquarius, we're going to be, jumping out of paradigms, and we're doing this big shift. The opportunity, and, I can even, wow. Yeah, let me go here. I'm going to talk about Neptune a little bit. Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Each one of these planets rules a sign. Here's Neptune, the trident, Poseidon, god of the oceans, yes, god of the waters. And we talked about that, Pisces. And Neptune goes around every 165 years, okay? And so it has gone back and come to its home. It rules Pisces, and it entered Pisces in 2012. And it's going to stay there for 14 years until 2025, 2026. So it's at the very end of its time here in Pisces. And this rules what? Besides hospitals and institutions, okay, and the immune system, okay, it rules the collective unconscious. It rules this place that I spoke of dreams, and no boundaries, no laws, no rules, no up, no down, no in, no out. It's chaos. It rules confusion, but it also rules magic, and it rules mysticism. It rules nirvana. It rules samadhi, music, art, dance, and poetry, all things that take us up and out of this mundane, slow, violent, crude, ugly world. It rules addictions and escapism and avoidance and denial. I mean, this is the whole bucket. This is the whole bucket here, Neptune. The collective unconscious. It rules movies. Yeah? Movies. And it rules oil. Anyway, there's all kinds of things that it rules. I don't want to go too far into that, but I want to say that this has also been a process since 2012 until now, and for these next couple of years, where it's closing a 165-year journey, right? Okay, coming back here. And so this is a time where our crown chakras are all opening. And we're all becoming more sensitive. It's like our skin is all getting thinner and our immune systems are breaking down. And we're becoming more aware, okay, of the oneness of all creation, of this possibility, okay, of how somehow things are all connected and there's more synchronicity, right? There's just like so many more coincidences and things go. So there's this magical, subtle, spiritual energy happening behind everything that is visible, tangible, audible, yeah, and touchable, yeah. So this is the realm of magic and mystery and spirit, where there's no separation, but that everything, it's the law of one. So this is what's coming from 2044 when Pluto goes into Pisces, right? We're going to be evolving until 2068. So we want to look at the long range of like where these things are really moving towards in the long run. But for right now, right, this Neptune is saying that the doors of perception, of extrasensory perception, okay, the windows of meditation, the potential, okay, and this is also of what? Spirit, that law of one is about spiritual love. It's an opening of the heart. So this Neptune in Pisces, this is a time period where we can really open our hearts and have forgiveness and have compassion and let go of some judgments. Yes, let go of separation. This is really the opportunity that is being afforded us. It's not an easy path to let go of this separation. But this separation is part of Saturn, third dimensional, ego consciousness. It's I, me, my. And this sense of separation creates self-interest. And self-interest can start with just I need to survive. Food, shelter, clothing, comfort, right? I need more money. I need more of this. I am separate from you. And if you've got some, then I've got less. And I want more. So there creates this whole dynamic, right? Of competition. This whole dynamic of supply and demand. This whole dynamic of less and more. And this whole dynamic of war. Us and them. Me and you. It's either or. And this creates, okay, this is, kind of what has created the whole dynamic that we're living in right now. Because, it creates a situation where the environment, where Mother Nature gets exploited, right? And this movement towards self-interest leads towards greed and lust and, grabbing and taking more property and more countries and more resources and, and more money and more oil and more of this and more of that. And and it's this addiction. You get into this addiction of more. It's all based upon the sense of separation. Now, the interesting thing is that Aquarius is the collective consciousness, and Pisces is the collective unconsciousness. So we're moving out of this separation into unity consciousness. And all these problems, okay, will eventually be solved when we let go of this self-interest and think about the good of the other. And we think about the good of the group. And nobody's going to be happy until everybody is happy. Otherwise, there's going to be revolution. You get rid of the middle class and you end up with poor people and rich people, and the poor people rebel against the rich people and they bring the da-da-da. And I mean, there is this endless cycles and cycles and cycles. So the opportunity that we're really getting afforded during this time period is really waking up and breaking out of these old, patterns, this old conditioning, that of the way that we have been taught, right? Like life works, or what success is, or what's going to, make us happy or bring fulfillment. So we have to like really break free. And so this Aquarius is the sign of, like I said, breaking free, liberation, freedom from the known. There are three responses to this. One is I'm going to break from the conventional established norm, and I am afraid. I'm afraid of the future. Aquarius rules the future. So we're getting catapulted into the unknown future right now. Well, if I'm afraid of that future, one way that I will rebel is to go backwards. I'm going to be the Amish. I'm going to be a Luddite. I'm not going to use any, Wi-Fi. I'm not going to, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to, go out into the way far back hills outside Colfax. And nobody's going to bother me again. You know what I'm saying? So there is the possibility, right, of like just kind of withdrawing from the collective. That's one response. The second response, okay, is I'm going to withdraw from the consensus and the conventional, and I'm going to come into, okay, subgroups, subcultures. Yeah? So there's a break up into communities, right? And so we've got the Black Lives Matter, we've got the LGBTQs, we've got the reds and the blues, and we've got the this and we've got the that, and we've got the gun people and the no gun. I mean, there's all these different sub. So you can see that we're really breaking down, right? This established norm into these little groups, these little subcultures. And then the third way, right, forward, is to just simply rebel and revolt and become a group of one. Yeah. I am going to, just individuate. I am unique. I am myself. I am my truth. I am solid, firm, strong in my own authority. Yeah? So we have these three different reactions to this call towards liberation. Yeah? Could you turn the light on just for the thanks. And so when we move into this, and I'm going to say, this can really, that's thank you. This is third dimensional reality, where it's either on or off. Black or white, good or bad, yes or no, past or future. But we can move beyond that. So the other planet that I want to talk about now, I think, here is Saturn, because as you can see, Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune they're ending, finishing, closing, right? Okay, so this is like 12 o'clock noon, okay, and they're going, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. This is the end, okay, of the day, right? This is 10, 11, 12. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So we can see Neptune, like I said, it's finishing that 165-year cycle. But Saturn, the cross of matter up above the crescent of consciousness with no circle of spirit. Yes. Chronos, time and space. Third dimensional reality, black and white. External authority. Yes? So this is form and structure. It's maturity. The great teacher of patience, perseverance, commitment is what lasts through time. So this is, this time, everything happens on this planet through time. So this goes around every 28 years or so. So you'll get your Saturn every 7 years. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, right? 63, 70, 77. These are Saturn years. Years of decision. Years to decide. Years to write contracts and years to break contracts. Years to set new goals. Years of completion and fulfilling old goals. So when you're at one of those stages, particularly what? 28, 29 and 57, 58. These are two times that really divide the human life cycle into three. One is the first 28 years is external authority makes so many decisions for you. From 28 to 58, okay, you have your own family and you make your own business and you're your own boss and you control more of your own life. And then from 58 to 80 to 88 or 87 or so, right, 84, then that is a time where it's not about control. It's not about being controlled or controlling. You're preparing to die. You're preparing, okay, it's about your inner work. It's about your inner life, your inner world. Yeah? So these are the three stages of these cycles. But now Saturn, you can see, so he goes around every 28 years or so. Well, he's just gone into Pisces last month. Yeah? So he spends about 2.5 years in a sign. He's going to spend 3 years in Pisces. Okay? And so here we have the great teacher, Chronos, time and space, who says, grow up, mature, become more objective, think of the next 7 generations, leave a legacy, do something really important, right? Be the author of your own life, become your own authority. So Saturn rules over, yeah, well, a lot of different things. I've mentioned a lot of them, but it's interesting. The last 2.5 years, it's gone through Aquarius. And Saturn is boundaries and separation, social distancing. It's been 2.5 years of social distancing. Saturn goes into Aquarius and says, stay home. Do your inner work. It's just like it puts up walls and boundaries, okay, around society, and it wants to consolidate, it wants to contract, right, science, and it wants to contract, and it wants to ground and apply it all to the third dimension and the here and now, and and success and failure and black and white, and so it's very interesting that now there is this shift. And this shift is going into this Pisces. It's going up to 7 degrees, 31 minutes, okay, on August 29th. It goes retrograde back to 0, Pisces, okay. And then in January, I think, it goes forward again. So if you've got any planets here in early Pisces or early Virgo, or early Gemini, or early Sagittarius, you are getting a Saturn transit. And it's like hitting your head against the wall. You're getting blocked. You're getting stopped. You've got to really get your shit together. You've got to make decisions. You've got to set new goals. You've got to make new commitments. And if you're trapped, you've got to break out of those old forms and those old structures because your life is getting reformed and restructured. And now particularly, it's going through for the next 3 years, really until March of 2026, right? Really, it goes into the sign of Aries. So what is this? This is really something. Here we have, I just described Pisces, no laws, no rules, no boundaries, no time, no space. Here comes time and space. Here comes boundaries. Here comes laws and rules, right? You know, I mean, this is, oh boy, okay? This is where your dream hits reality. There can be some disillusionment. Saturn has to do with reflection. Reflection. Reflection is objectively observing your life from outside, above, yeah? Like an authority, like King Arthur. He's my favorite Saturn figure. You know, he had a hard time, but he still governed, right? You know, and he created the round table. And anyway, but what the reflection is very often called depression. They give you little red pills. They don't want you staying home reflecting. They want you working and producing, right? So, you know, don't go down. Don't reflect. Don't feel those deeper subconscious spiritual energies that are below, right, this surface ego level that really contain, right, you know, the spirit, the spiritual truth, the spiritual reality. So Saturn moving through here, besides, you know, really affecting well, this is hospitals, this is the whole medical establishment, this is the whole immune system with the mRNA vaccines. You know, this has to do with addictions of every form, the opioid crisis, fentanyl. I mean, everything that you see going on here is going to only like increase as Saturn moves on through Pisces, because it signals the end of illusion. See, Pisces is dreams, but it can also be fantasies and illusions that have no place. They're immature, naive projections of hopes, dreams, and wishes, but they're not real, possible. Yeah? So they are illusions. And Carl Jung said disillusionment is the most, you know, difficult human experience. So we're going through an extremely difficult, you know, it's like a birth canal. Okay, we're going through a 3-year period here, okay, through 22, 23, 24, 25, and into 26. I'm going to show you what happens in 26, okay? But this is this period, okay, where it's like end of illusion. This is not true. This is not possible. Okay, this is not honest. This is not healthy. This is not, you know, this is a time of like really. And when I think of commitments, what does this commitment? Saturn is commitments. Well, it's a commitment to spirit. Pisces. And what else is Pisces? What else is spirit? Egoless, selfless. It's about service. It's about philanthropy. It's about love. It's about devotion. It's about experiencing that law of one through, yes, compassionate, you know, assistance and service. So if there's something to commit to over these next 3 years, and this is where I tell everybody, you know, if you want to do well, okay, you know, just get into the, you know, become a healer. I don't care what kind of therapy, art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy, you know, psychotherapy, I mean, this is all about, right, you know? And if it comes to a discipline, make it a spiritual discipline. Do your yoga every morning. Do your meditation every morning. Do your breath work every morning. Make a commitment to open your crown chakra. That's what we can use this time for. Yeah? This is a time where, guess what? The doors of heaven and the doors of hell, well, you go either down or he comes down. But, this is also channeling. Yeah? Pisces is also plant medicine. Yeah, we're going to see an upswing in psilocybin. We're going to see an upswing in all the plant medicine because these are opening doors of perceptions, okay, into other worlds that are outside of this. So, this is where, Saturn is even business, right? And so the business is going to be around healing, around hospitals, around spiritual evolution and development, okay, around everything, helping people with addictions, okay, and around helping people realize their connection to everything else and everybody else. And if that's what you're doing, like running Paloma Yoga, yeah, baby, you're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time, right? Because this is what people need. This is what is going to really, bring in this transition from separation to unity consciousness. This is the big shift that's happening. Now, if we want to look at some of these other planets that are happening, we can look at the planet Uranus. Uranus goes around every 85 years. So when you're 21, 42, 63, and 85, wacko. Wacko! Woo-hoo! Baby! Woo! It's the Starship Enterprise. I love it. Yeah, but it rules. It's the process of individuation, is what Carl Jung called it. I am unique, eccentric, bizarre, unusual, special, right? I'm from the future. I'm Doctor Who. If I got money, I'm eccentric. If I'm broke, I'm crazy. Right? So Uranus, one way or the other, it rules the personal unconscious. The personal unconscious. And when it comes around to visit you, it says that your unique unconscious needs to individualize, liberate, break free, and go into the future. So the only thing that it does is sometimes, what do? We project our unconscious outside of us onto other people. So somebody leaves us. Instead of me leaving a limiting situation, I am left. Or, I have to just make this change, but I won't make the change, so I get in a car accident. So, Uranus rules unpredictable events, accidents. I spoke about accidents before. It's the unconscious, okay? So this is, very often seen as extreme, sudden, radical change, thus ruling trauma. And this trauma, this change, this radical liberating from an old way of being has been going through Taurus, the most fixed, stubborn sign of the frickin' zodiac. I mean, it is like lightning hitting. You know the Tower card in the Tarot? Well, that's what we've been going through. And it spends 7 years in a sign. Yeah? So really from 2018 to 2025, we've got this 7-year period, okay, of sudden, unexpected, extreme conditions and situations having to do with survival, with the food chain, with the supply chain, with the banking system, okay, like with, everything that we use for food, clothing, shelter, and physical survival. Money. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. It has to do with science and technology and advancements. So we have, from 2018 to 2025, we've got cryptocurrency coming, right? We've got CBDCs coming, the digital currency. Biden just announced it, right? They've been working on it. We've got BRICS coming, changing the whole, where the United States may just no longer be, the US dollar may no longer be the world currency, right? So the whole world currency is going through. Uranus is this whole kind of unstable, it's a destabilizing factor. Yeah? And what it's doing, it's the planet of revolution. It's revolutionizing. And when it comes to our personal life and our personal world, Taurus, wherever it falls in your chart and whatever planets you've got there, you may not have the sun there, but maybe you've got Venus or Mercury or Jupiter or, all these other things. You got to know your chart, you guys. So, but it's coming through here, and what is it doing? Because Taurus ultimately is the sign, it's ruled by Venus, Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. It has to do with values. Values. We need to evolve a new set of values, a new set of priorities. It's a revolution in what is really important. And not only those values, but then Taurus, wherever it falls in your chart, has to do with how much you value yourself. It has to do with unconditional self-love. It has to do with self-sufficiency. It has to do with my ability to receive. Because when I love myself, I create abundance because I will receive. You can say thank you twice. You can pay me twice. You can give me da-da-da-da. It's a reflection that the outside world reflects our inner relationship to ourselves. So this is actually a radical time, okay, for each and every single one of us to become more sovereign, more autonomous, more unconditionally loving ourselves, and more open to receiving the abundance that is right here in this moment. This is the paradox now, that there's so many things falling apart and there's so many things wrong, and you read the news and there's so much bad. And then guess what? I know people whose lives are blossoming and they're having the best time they've ever had. I'm one of them. I'm having a great time. What you want to do is get into astrology. But you see what I'm saying? There is, okay, this is where we create our own reality. And this is where you can, it can be raining and freezing cold and sleet outside, and you're sitting in there with a nice warm fire, some chocolate and some wine, and the one you love. Yeah? So even in the midst of the coldest, darkest hour, we can experience the greatest awakening, and the greatest fires of love can blossom in our lives. Yeah? So this Uranus moving through here, we want to see it as an opportunity. And I know it can get real scary out there when we think about, the banks are surveilling us and they're going to use the CBDCs against us, and there's all this kind of thing going on. But what we want to understand, and this is also true of what? Well, especially tonight, because the sun and Mercury are also there. But now we have the moon's nodes. Oh my God, right? The dragon's head and the dragon's tail. They're always 180 degrees apart. And the tail is the dark past, okay, where the shit comes out. It's the nasty. It's your past lives. It's what has been. And the north is the head, biting into the future, receiving, new nourishment, right? They go around every 18.6 years, okay? So they spend a year and a half in a sign. So what we want to do is, if we want to evolve, we want to go towards the north node and away from the south node, right? Okay? So in January of 2022, right, the north node went into Taurus, and the south node went into Scorpio. Yeah? Don't do Scorpio. Do lots of Taurus. It's going to go on until July. Yeah, July 17th, the north node is going to go into Aries. Okay? So we've got this year and a half from January of 22 to July of 23, okay, where the emphasis not only is Uranus there, okay, but the north node is there. And guess what? May 17th, Jupiter is going into Taurus also, right? And it's going to stay there for until May of 24. So Jupiter, we're going to talk about Jupiter, but I mean, we're having a freaking Taurus party going on here like right now. Okay, you see it, you see it, you see it. Okay, so, what this is saying is, okay, this is the end of codependence. Yeah, this is the end of, the south node of the moon has been moving through Scorpio, which is, we're going to merge our resources. We're going to unite our money and our sexual fluids and our lives and our this and the other thing and our cars or whatever. And we're going to become stronger together. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I am you and you are me and we are all together. I'm going to lose myself in you, you lose yourself in me, and we'll be bigger and stronger. And I mean, this is just like, whoa, orgasm. Yeah, but guess what? It's the south node of the moon. There's a time and a place for everything. 9 years from now, go for it. Yeah. But right now, right, this time period is saying, oh boy, become self-sufficient. That's intercourse. This is masturbation. That's the taboo. You don't talk about it. This is the other. Yeah, that's, well, anyway. This is self-pleasuring, right? I love myself. I'm making love with someone that I love, right? This is Taurus. Okay, I'm going to receive, right? I'm going to be self-sufficient. I'm going to have my own garden. Okay, I'm going to grow my own food. I'm going to I'm going to develop my capacities and my talents. I'm going to get an additional source of income. I'm going to get money from here and money from here and money from here. So this is like this. I'm building my bank account. I'm building my talents and capacities. I am becoming more valuable through doing my own inner work, not through somebody else or my company or my business or the government or da-da-da-da-da. This is a time where each and every one of us will benefit through really pulling in our own stuff. And guess what? July, it moves into Aries. And if you think Taurus is selfish, no, I'm just fooling around. But Aries, okay, and it's going to stay there for a year and a half, okay, until I think it's February of 25, March of 25, okay. It's going to, and so Aries, ruled by Mars, the god of war, the warrior, the soldier. I trust my instinct. I trust my gut. When I want something, I want it, and I deserve to get it. And I'm going to heal my wounded warrior that has been, made to feel helpless, powerless, impotent. Like I don't deserve to get what I want. This can be a time of war. This can be a time of self-assertion. From, like I said, July of 23 to March of 25, this North Node moving through Aries, it's moving out of Libra. What's Libra? Balance, peace, harmony, diplomacy, talking, nonviolent communication, don't swear, don't fart, this is let's be nice, let's be political, right? Aries says, I don't give a shit. I want it. Meow. So this, it's going to get a little dicey. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, you think this year is intense. Oh my God. When that node goes into Aries in July, okay, it's going to heat up. It's a fire sign. So, Taurus is the tortoise, slow and steady wins the race. I'm going to, build my IRA dollar by dollar by dollar, Aries says, give me the freaking money right now. So, what we want to do is, and of course, what you want to do is you want to look and see where that falls in your chart, what planets you've got there. Could be interesting. You could have Aries in your 7th house of marriage. Good luck with that. Just marry an Aries. That's all you got to do. Then you'll see what you're... No. Okay, anyway, where was I? Well, as long as I'm on Aries, I can talk about Chiron. I mean, as long as I'm not out of time. You guys tell me, if I can shut up anytime. Okay, so Chiron. Ooh. Chiron, the wounded healer. I talk about him on the Pele Report quite a bit. He goes around every 51 years. Yeah? And he's really associated with that aspect of ourselves that has been wounded in our past lives. We've all been wounded somewhere, somehow. Yes? And it hurts. And we can try to escape it. We can try to numb ourselves out. We can try to hide it so nobody sees it. Or we can investigate it, research it, understand it better than anybody else. And then it becomes our medicine. This has to do with the hero's journey. Yeah? Or the heroine's journey. It is going down into your deepest, darkest corners, okay, of your psyche where, angels fear to tread, and really looking at, okay? So it's the soul nature, but it's also this wounded part of ourselves, Freud would say it's from childhood. The astrologer says it's from past lives. It doesn't really matter where it's from. It's there. And you've got it. Yes? We have all got Chiron somewhere. Okay? We have all been hurt. We've all been wounded. But when it goes around and it spends 8 years in Aries, well, Aries is ruled by Mars. It's the masculine. The masculine has been wounded. And we know the feminine has been wounded. Of course, the masculine has wounded the feminine, but why would it wound the feminine unless it was wounded to start with and got what? Distorted, right? Distorted, perverted, twisted out of that wound. So we have this sexual energy. We have this masculine energy. We have this, impulsive, instinctive, will force. Mars is the will. Our will has been wounded. And if it's not allowed to express itself naturally, I am naturally this, I just want to, where it's getting judged, it's getting shamed, it's getting persecuted, it's getting suppressed, it's getting denied, then what does it do? It gets all distorted. And it becomes the source of anger and rage. And then it finds a machine gun and goes to the nearest school. No. Yeah? But you see what I'm saying? The source of anger is suppression. Yeah? And so we want to, what we're looking at here, and this time period of Chiron happening, okay, is this 8 years is really from, 2017, yeah, to 2024. No, 2018 to 2026. Chiron in Aries. So if you were born anywhere 51 years ago, right? So anybody, like right now, between the ages of like 47 to 53, you were born with Chiron in Aries. Your will has been wounded. Your masculine ability to assert yourself naturally, spontaneously, expecting the best, expecting to get what you want. Like when you reach your hand in the cookie jar, you think you're going to get a cookie. That's been wounded. Like if I want a cookie, they're not going to give it to me. So I've got to find some other freaking way to get around and to get that cookie. And so, there is this, and this is where it hurts to feel impotent, to be unseen, to not be respected or honored, to have what you want just denied. And it's happening. Like with lockdown and with the whole COVID thing. We don't care what you think. We don't care what you want. This is a mandate. Everybody's just got to do it. We're treating you like you're cattle. Everybody's going to get this. Everybody's not going to do that. I mean, this is really dealing very much so with, some circumstances. And each one of us has this place or this area in our lives, right, where Chiron is going right now. Okay, it's right in the middle of Aries. Anything from 15 to 20 degrees. So if you've got anything at 15 to 20 Libra, 15 to 20 Capricorn, 15 to 20 Cancer, you're getting a Chiron transit right now. And what Chiron does is very often what we call a healing crisis. He brings about a crisis. Okay, he brings about like things, come up, or if it's an opposition, somebody, brings up your wounds. Somebody brings up your childhood, stuff. Or if it's a square, I mean, and it depending on, what it's hitting. It can be a physical crisis, like you end up in the hospital, you get COVID, or you get some other disaster where you are forced to lay in bed and think about why you are here. What your soul path is. What is your soul journey? And are your actions, decisions, and relationships, is your life built around your soul intention? Or are you living out something that your mother wanted you to do? Or your spouse? Or your boss, or, the Pope. I don't know. We all have different, it could be the Dalai Lama until a couple weeks ago. Anyway, I mean, so, it's just like, are you in touch with your Aries, with your gut, with your true instinct and your will force? So Chiron in Aries wants to bring us into alignment and make sure that our actions, our Mars is our actions, it's our life path. It wants to make sure that our life path is in alignment with our soul path. Yeah? So a lot of times, if the area of your life that is in crisis, okay, can be the area of your life that is not in alignment with what your soul intention is. Easy peasy. Super cool. So what you need to do, right, is you need to go into and you need to investigate. You need to investigate. Mars rules the solar plexus. Yes? Okay, so it's this third chakra. And you really need to go into everything third chakra. You need to go into everything having to do, okay, with your will. Mars rules muscles. Okay, it rules testosterone. It rules our sexual nature, our sexual desire, right? And it rules our potency, whether you're masculine or feminine, man or woman, right? And so there is this whole, and of course we can see it with this whole LGBTQ, the whole gender thing coming up. There is this whole energy around the need to investigate, research, penetrate, and understand on a deeper soul level what sex is about, what gender is about, what our biology is about, what our hormones are about, estrogen and testosterone in particular, right? So it's the testes and the ovaries, that have to do here, and Mars also is adrenaline. So there's also energy. Adrenaline is our energy, and if we're not feeling energized about our lives, if we don't have the energy, well, guess what? You're not on track. Because if you're on track and you're on your soul journey and you're living your soul intention, you're inspired. You're driven. You want to get out of bed. You got shit to do. You know why you're here. Shit's got to get done. This is Mars. And so when that's wounded, you get, you don't have any adrenaline, and you have a fatigue, and you have, chronic fatigue, and you just have this whole kind of like, whoa, shit, I'd like to go, hear that talk tonight, but, Colfax is a long ways away. You can see these empty cushions. All these people bought tickets. There's exactly the number of chairs and tickets that we sold, but not everybody that bought a ticket made it. There's a difference between the intention and the will force to carry it through, right? So, this is a time where, Chiron is really asking us, and of course, in your own unique chart, in your own unique way, to really dive into that wound. So, before we close tonight, I just want to look ahead at the months of June, July, August, give you a sense of what's coming here a little bit, because it's super freaking great. I hate to say it, the world's falling apart, but the astrology is, guess what? Venus is going into Leo for the whole freaking summer. Cut it out. I mean, does it get better than that? I don't think so. Oh my God. So what's going on here? Look at this. This is very exciting, right? So Venus is going to bop out of Gemini, and it's going to spend about a month. But, really, by June 10th, Venus goes into Leo. And Mars, is also going. I mean, you know what this is.
Wow.
This is the masculine and the feminine. This is creativity. Yeah? This is self-expression. This is art and everything that, is an expression of, right, beauty, in the world. And it's coming through Leo, which is the sign of self-expression. And it's ruled by the sun. It has to do with play, with romance, with love affairs, with gambling and risk-taking. Why is it gambling and risk-taking? Because it's a trust in life. It's a trust that I'm an agent of life. Life is working through me. Life is working for me. I'm going to win. I'm going to risk, right? So that Leo the lion says, yeah, I'm a winner. Right? And so we got Venus and Mars, they're traveling together, all from June 10th to July 10th to July 20th or so. They're just traveling right on together through Leo. And then what happens? Well, Mars goes forward, and it goes in late July. Mars goes into Virgo, but not Venus. Venus says, I like it here. I'm going retrograde. She's going all the way up to 28, almost to Virgo, and she says, no, I want to go back. And so she's going back to 12 degrees of Leo, right? And then she's going to go straight. So she's not getting out of Leo until, like I said, October 10th. I mean, wow. Yeah? I mean, I think this is like super great. And then the other thing that's happening, I didn't talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, opportunity, abundance, prosperity. I mean, it is the principle of expansion. Okay? And, I mean, that can be too much of a good thing is not good anymore. Yeah? It can be, too much eating, too much drinking, too much lovemaking. Okay, yeah, and just I mean, too much of things can go bad. Like Venus, Jupiter is diabetes, right? Too much sugar, right? Okay, so Jupiter is a tricky one, right? So it can be overcommitting, overexpanding, overextending, It can overdo it, but in general, most people I have found doing chart readings for 40 years, not so many people have to worry, okay, too much about over receiving. Yeah? And that's what it's doing. It's going into Taurus. Yeah? Like I said, next month, right, in May, Jupiter goes into Taurus and it stays there for this whole month. And it's actually going to come up and it's going to hit Uranus. We're going to have a sudden good fortune. Jupiter, Uranus, right? Uranus is sudden. Jupiter's good fortune. They're coming together, okay? Towards the end of the year, okay? So it's going to be closer to like October or so. But, this is just like a very powerful, indication, right, that it is really time for the squirrels to gather their nuts. I want to encourage you, okay, to like really receive, really draw in, really, contain, hold, yeah? And plant your gardens and really, I mean, the beautiful thing about Taurus is what? Well, Venus is the lower octave of Neptune. You remember I talked about Neptune. Neptune is spiritual love. Okay? It can be platonic. It's not necessarily physical. It's that I love all things. I love flowers. I love kids. I love dogs. I love, rocks, whatever. I mean, it's just, I love Neptune loves everything because it's the principle of unity consciousness, right? Well, Venus is what we call the lower octave of Neptune. So it's personal love. So we have spiritual love, and then we have personal love, right?
At the same time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
Well, what I'm saying here, okay, is that Venus, okay, this is what Venus really rules is the way that the soul connects to the body. How the soul connects to the body. So the sign that you were born when, wherever Venus was when you were born, that's how your soul connects to your body. It could be through fire. It could be through water. It could be through earth. It could be through air. Right? So, but it's, so Taurus has to do with feeling comfortable in our bodies. Mars and Taurus. As we feel comfortable in our bodies, we know, right, that this Venus is working, okay? So this is just like, taking actions, making decisions, working with relationships, all of our associations, all the things that we're doing. Does it feel good in my body? Somatic wisdom. Where does this feel good, or like really tapping in? So I think that the real gold coming up, yeah, as this Jupiter goes into Taurus here, Jupiter is the great teacher. He rules Sagittarius, the guru, right? So it's and this principle of the teacher is that we will learn, okay, through our bodies. And listening to the to the messages, to the vibrations, to the signals, that we get, yeah? And really use our bodies as teachers, yeah? I have an excellent book. It's the Complete Encyclopedia of Ailments and Diseases, yeah, by Jacques Martin, French guy. Goes through everything. You got skin problems, kidneys, hair, this, that, bones, shoulders, fingers, and it goes through, the emotions and the psychology and the soul condition that creates the physical condition. What we have to really understand is that the physical body is the final receptacle. Dis-ease with the Father starts with the Spirit. And then it comes down into the astral body, the mental body. And then it comes down in and densifies into the emotional body. And then into the energy, the etheric body. And finally, you have cancer. Finally, you have a broken bone. Finally, you have da-da-da-da. Yeah, so the physical body, okay, and physical ailments, this is the end result of a long incarnation process. Yeah? So, there is a lot that we want to use our body to access what is going on in these other levels of our psyche soul. It's our best instrument for discovering our true needs. And one of those highest vibrations is excitement. Excitement. Excitement is a very, yeah. So when something is exciting, when your heart skips a beat, your body is telling you something. You want to listen to your excitement. So this is this kind of energy, Uranus and Taurus, Jupiter and Taurus, all this energy going on, okay, in this earth sign ruled by Venus, for the rest of this year and into next year. This is a very, and I know there are going to be a lot of challenges. There'll be a lot of, hustle and bustle and things that want to, pull you out or can take distract you from, yourself and your work and your life and your path and your creative expression and your manifestation and you and just kind of, control you and run you and dominate you and make you worry, make you do this, da, 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 da. And what Taurus is saying is, fuck it. You come home. Yeah? We want to come home to ourselves. And we will find peace. And we will find comfort. Yes? In stillness. And even better than that, silence. Taurus is about simplicity. The return to simplicity. Letting go of this intensity and this drama, okay, and all of this, and go out to your garden with your little shovel or pull some weeds. Talk to the worms. Learn something. Okay. Yeah, baby. Oh my God. All right. And look at this over here. Oh my God. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to close with a meditation.